Hey, today I've got some chilling, real Reddit stories that genuinely had me sleeping with the lights on. If you want more of these videos, hit subscribe and drop a like. Let's get into it. My parents finally told me why my older brother, 31-year-old male, wasn't allowed at my wedding, and I, 26-year-old female, wish I never asked. This one was posted to r/offmychest about 3 days ago by a user called throwawaybride0926. It picked up traction fast, and once you hear why, you'll understand. Let me just get into it. So, OP is a 26-year-old woman. She's 5 days away from her wedding. This should be the single best week of her entire life. Instead, she's about to crack open something her family buried a long time ago. She starts the post saying something happened that night that changed everything she believed about her family. I, 26-year-old female, am getting married in 5 days. I should be over the moon right now, but instead, I'm sitting in my car at 3 a.m. writing this because I can't stop shaking. I need to start with my brother Kyle, 31-year-old male. He's basically been a ghost in our family since I was about 14. I was always told he and my dad had some massive falling out and that he left for college early, moved all the way across the country. I never really pushed on it. Nobody talked about it. That was just the family story, and I accepted it. Tonight, I needed my birth certificate for the marriage license. I went digging through my parents' garage, through old boxes and storage bins, and I found a locked filing cabinet I had never seen before. I pried it open with a screwdriver. Inside were 2 police reports with Kyle's name on them, a handwritten letter from a family I don't recognize begging my parents to keep him away from our daughter, and a cashier's check for $40,000 made out to a woman's name I've never heard, dated August 2014, the exact month Kyle supposedly left for college. I photographed everything. I haven't slept. My brother didn't leave for college. My parents sent him away because he hurt someone, and then they paid to make it disappear. And that right there is where this whole thing locks in. 5 days before her wedding, and the entire foundation just splits wide open. She's sitting with all of it alone in the dark, and none of it feels real yet. This one only gets heavier from here. The next morning, OP tries to hold it together. Coffee, smile, act like the world didn't crack open 12 hours ago. But she can't. She waits until her dad leaves for work, then corners her mom in the kitchen. I pulled up one of the photos on my phone, the letter from that family, and set it on the counter in front of her. She didn't even pick it up. She just looked at it and her whole face drained, like watching someone age 10 years in 2 seconds. She started crying immediately. Not guilty crying, scared crying. She said, "You were never supposed to see that." I asked her what Kyle did. She told me he made a terrible mistake with a girl who was almost 18. The girl was 15. Mom called it a misunderstanding that got out of hand. She said both families agreed. No charges, Kyle leaves, and they help the girl's family financially. I asked what out of hand means. She wouldn't answer. She just kept saying it was handled and everyone moved on. So I asked the question that broke her. Why are there 2 police reports? 2 different counties, 2 different years. Kyle was 21 for the second one. Different girl. My mother froze. She couldn't even look at me. She whispered, "That one was dropped. It was nothing." Nothing. I felt sick. Every single memory I have of my parents teaching me right from wrong, protecting me, being the good ones, all of it started rotting in real time. I went to my car and called my fiancé, told him everything. He was quiet for a long time, then said, "Whatever you need, I'm here." I haven't eaten since yesterday. I've been Googling my brother's name for 3 hours and I can't stop. That last line is where it sits. She's not angry yet. She's still in the phase where the person you thought your parents were is dissolving, and the real version hasn't fully taken shape. But it will. And what she finds next is going to make this so much worse. So at this point, OP does what anyone would do. She opens her laptop and starts searching. I found Kyle on Instagram within 5 minutes. Public profile. He's got a gold retriever. He hikes in Sedona. He posts sunsets with little inspirational captions. He looks happy. He looks normal. And that made me want to throw up more than anything in those documents did. I tracked down the name on the cashier's check through public records. found the family. I sat in my car for 40 minutes writing a message to the girl, the woman now, and I couldn't hit send. I just kept staring at the cursor. Then I went through my mom's phone while she was in the shower. Birthday calls to Kyle every single year. Christmas cards. Care packages with his favorite coffee. My dad paid Kyle's rent in Tucson for 3 years. They didn't cut him off. They didn't punish him. They relocated him somewhere no one would ask questions. But here's where I completely lost it. I checked the wedding RSVP list, and Kyle's name wasn't on it. Fine, but I found a separate email chain between my mom and Kyle from 2 weeks ago. She sent him the wedding date, the venue address, the hotel block info. Her exact words were, "I wish you could be there, maybe just for the reception." She was going to sneak him in. My mother was actively trying to bring my brother to my wedding. The comments on this one did not hold back. Your parents paid hush money to a victim's family and then just went on hosting Thanksgiving? I'm genuinely nauseous reading this. The $40,000 check is what's haunting me. They literally put a price tag on that girl's trauma and filed it away in a cabinet. I need to know what your fiancé thinks about all this. Does he know? Because this is the kind of thing that tests a relationship to its core. He knows everything. He was with me when I opened the cabinet. Honestly, he's the only reason I didn't just shove it all back in and pretend I never saw it. He held me for about an hour, and then he said, "We're not letting him near our kids someday." And that's when it really hit me that this is permanent. This isn't a misunderstanding I can fix over dinner. And that last line from OP is the one that sits with you. Because she's not just losing a brother. She's losing every version of her parents she ever believed in. OP came back 4 days later with an update post. "I found the girl from the documents, and it's worse than I thought. I found her. The woman from the cashier's check. I sent her a message 5 days ago, and she responded within hours. Her name is Megan, and she is 27 now. She confirmed everything in those reports, and then told me things that weren't in them. Things I cannot write here. She said her family took the money because my father told them he had connections in the county and that pressing charges would get complicated for them. They were a single-income household. They felt trapped. But here's the part that broke me. 2 days after I messaged Megan, her younger sister found me on Instagram. She is 17. She told me Kyle followed her last year, liked a bunch of her photos, and sent her a DM saying he always thought about her family and hoped there were no hard feelings. She was 16 when he sent that. 16. I sat in my car in a Target parking lot and screamed into a pillow for 10 minutes. Then I called a lawyer. Then I called the non-emergency police line. Kyle is not some past mistake my parents buried. He is active. He is circling back. He contacted the younger sister of the girl he hurt, a child, and my parents still send him Christmas cards. The comments on this update were not calm. The fact that your mother secretly invited him to your wedding after you found those documents tells you everything you need to know about where her loyalties are. I grew up in a family like this. The golden child could do anything, and we were all just supposed to maintain the image. It took me years of therapy to stop feeling guilty for being angry. You're not destroying your family. They did that 12 years ago. This is the comment I hope OP screenshots and keeps on her phone for the next 6 months. Because her parents are absolutely going to reframe this as her blowing up the family, and she needs to remember who actually lit the fuse. And that one line kept getting repeated everywhere in the thread. He contacted the younger sister. Not the victim, the younger sister. So this is where it all comes apart. Everything OP found, everything she held in, it all comes out at once. 2 nights before the wedding, at the rehearsal dinner, I stood up in front of close family. My hands were shaking, but I didn't care anymore. I looked at both of my parents and I told them, I know what Kyle did. I know about the police reports, the $40,000 check, the second victim, all of it. My mom started sobbing immediately, kept saying she was trying to protect the family. Protect what? I wanted to scream. My dad stood up, pointed his finger directly at me and said, "You are ungrateful. After everything we built for you, you're going to destroy this family over something that happened before you could even remember." I told them I canceled Kyle's secret invitation to my wedding, and I told them I filed a police report with the new evidence of him contacting a minor. My father walked out without another word. My mother just sat there, shaking. I got married 2 days later. My parents were not there. I don't know if I'll ever talk to them again. I keep thinking about that check for $40,000. That was the price they put on a girl's life. And then they kept paying, with silence, every year after. Account went dark after that. But before it did, one comment from the thread stood out. Please, please, please file a report. I know it's your family, but if he's still contacting minors, this is not a keep the peace situation anymore. And she did file that report. Here's what stays with me about this story. The scariest part isn't the brother, it's the system built around him. Two parents who decided that protecting their son was worth sacrificing someone else's daughter, and then doing it again and again. Silence as currency. What would you do if you found that filing cabinet? But that's not the only secret a family kept locked away. This next story starts with a DNA test and a name that shouldn't exist. I, 28-year-old female, gave a hitchhiker a ride last Tuesday, and he knew my mother's maiden name. Alright, this next one genuinely made me uncomfortable, and I don't say that lightly. This was posted to r/Let's Not Meet 5 days ago by a user called Fog on the Interstate. The title alone should tell you where this is going. She opens with some context on her life and her routine, and honestly, it's the kind of setup where you can already feel something is about to go very wrong. So I, 28-year-old female, drive this long rural commute through central Pennsylvania twice a week to see my mom. It's about 2 hours each way, mostly 2-lane highway, no cell service for big stretches of it. Last Tuesday I was heading home and the rain was absolutely brutal. Like zero visibility, wipers on max, still couldn't see. I come around a bend and there's a man standing on the shoulder. No car anywhere, just him in a dark coat with his hand up. Every part of me said, keep driving. But he was soaked and it was pitch black and I stopped. He got in, thanked me quietly, said he ran out of gas a few miles back. Mid-40s maybe. Polite, soft-spoken. We did the normal small talk thing. The weather, how far the next town was, whether the road flooded out past the bridge. Totally normal. Then about 10 minutes in, he turns to me, completely calm, and says, "You have your mother's eyes. The Castellano eyes." I can't describe what that did to me. Castellano is my mother's maiden name. I don't carry it. It's not on any of my documents. I have never seen this man before in my life. He said it warmly, like a compliment, like he'd known my family forever. Then he just turned back toward the road and went quiet. I'm gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles are white, and my heart is slamming, and I have no idea what just happened. And that is where she stops. Alone on a dark rural highway with a stranger who somehow knows things about her family that he has absolutely no business knowing. No explanation, no follow-up from him, just silence and rain and the sound of her own heartbeat. For about 5 minutes after that, nothing. Just rain on the windshield and OP white-knuckling the steering wheel, trying to process what this stranger just said. No lights on the road, no other cars, no cell signal, and this man sitting in the passenger seat like he had said the most natural thing in the world. I wanted to ask him how he knew that name. I wanted to pull over right there and demand an answer, but something in my gut told me not to. Maybe it was the road. No lights, no other cars, no cell signal for miles. Maybe it was the way he said it, like it was not some big reveal for him, like he already knew everything about me and that was just one small piece. So I kept driving. He did not say anything for a while. Then out of nowhere he goes, "That old stone church off Route 45, they don't keep it up like they used to." My grandmother lived a quarter mile from that church. She went there every Sunday for 40 years. I never told him that. I never told him anything. I pulled into the first gas station I saw and told him this was as far as I could take him. He nodded. No pushback. He turned to me before opening the door and said, "Your grandmother was a good woman." Then he stepped out into the rain and just walked. I watched him until he disappeared past the tree line into nothing. I locked every door and called my mom with shaking hands. She had no idea who this man could be. Nobody in my family did. I barely slept for days after. I checked every mirror walking to my car. I Googled every combination of my name and Castellano trying to find some public record connecting the two. Nothing. I filed a police report, but even I know how it sounds. A polite man in my car said my mom's maiden name and mentioned a church near Grandma's house. They took the report. That was it. That is what makes this one crawl under your skin. There is no threat you can name, no crime you can point to. Just a stranger who knew things he absolutely should not have known, stepping out into the dark like he had somewhere to be. And the worst part is there is nowhere for OP to take it. No lead, no name, no plate number, just a feeling she cannot shake. But she is not done with this story, and what she finds next changes everything. This is where the post shifts from unsettling to something else entirely. OP starts pulling on threads, and none of them lead anywhere good. I spent the next 3 days tearing apart every corner of my digital life, every social media account, every privacy setting, every tagged photo going back years. I searched my mom's name, her maiden name, every combination I could think of. Nothing. My mom barely uses Facebook. She posts maybe twice a year, always pictures of her garden. The Castellano name is nowhere online connected to either of us. I called my uncle first, described the man. Mid-40s, dark coat, soft voice, knew the family name. Nothing. Called my aunt. Same thing, no recognition. Until she went quiet for a second and said something that made my stomach drop. She said Grandma always used to talk about a man who watched over the family, like a guardian. We all thought it was the dementia talking. She had been saying it for years before she passed, and we just wrote it off, every single time. I have not driven that stretch of Route 45 since last Tuesday. I take the long way now through Mifflinburg. It adds about 40 minutes each way to my commute. I don't care. I am not driving past that spot again. The comments on this one went deep. The fact that he used your mother's maiden name and not your surname is what gets me. That's not something you find on a Facebook profile. That's deep-cut family knowledge. The way he said it like a compliment is the worst part. He wasn't threatening you. He was letting you know he's been watching. That's so much worse. I don't want to freak you out more, but have you checked if anyone in your family ever reported a stalker? Sometimes this stuff is generational. I called my mom after I posted this. She went completely silent when I described him. Then she said, "Don't pick up strangers," and hung up. I called back 4 times and she didn't answer until the next morning. And when she did, she acted like the conversation never happened. So yeah, I think she knows exactly who he is. She just won't tell me. And that right there changed everything. This was not just a creepy encounter anymore. Something in that family knows exactly who this man is, and nobody wants to say it out loud. 6 days pass. Then OP came back with an update post, and honestly, this one changed the entire conversation. I found a second photo of him, and I don't think he's alive. So after my original post blew up, a lot of you told me to go through my grandmother's things. She passed 6 months ago and left behind boxes I hadn't touched. I finally did it. There was a sealed photo album, her personal collection. I started flipping through, and about halfway in, I stopped breathing. There's a photo from 1979, black and white, slightly overexposed. It's some kind of church gathering, maybe 30 people standing on the steps. And in the back row, standing slightly apart from everyone else, is a man. Same face. Not similar, same. Same age he looked when he was sitting in my car last Tuesday. Same dark coat. I cropped the photo and circled his face, and I'm posting it here. My hands were shaking the entire time I was scanning it in. I called my mom immediately. She doesn't recognize him either. The back of the photo just has a year, 1979. No names, nothing else. My grandmother would have been 32 that year. I don't know what I'm looking at anymore. The comment section went nuclear after that photo dropped. 11 miles with no structures. Where did he come from? Where did he go? I'm not a paranormal person, but I have no rational explanation for this one. I mapped the stretch she's talking about. There's an old church foundation about 2 miles into the tree line off that road. Hasn't been active since the early 80s. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying it lines up with the 1979 photo being a church gathering. Please tell me you didn't drop him off near your house. Please. And then someone in the thread asked the one question that had been hanging over all of it. How is this man the same age in a photo taken 47 years ago? OP saw the comment. She never replied to that one. And that silence said more than any answer could have. 2 days after the update, OP came back one last time. She had one more thing to share. And then her account was gone. I found a second photo of him, and I don't think he's alive. I installed cameras at my house and my mom's house. I drove back to the exact spot where I dropped him off. There was nothing. No houses, no parked cars, no bus stops for 11 miles in either direction. Just empty road and tree line on both sides. I filed a second police report and brought the 1979 photo. The officer just looked at it and didn't say anything. Then last night I was going through my parents' wedding album, 1994. He is in one of the photos. Standing behind the photographer, partially cut off by the edge of the frame, but it is him. Same face, same age, same expression. He was not a guest. Nobody remembers him being there. He is not in any other frame from that day. Just that one single shot, standing exactly where nobody would have been looking. I found him in 1979. I found him in 1994. I picked him up on the highway in 2026. I don't know what he is. I don't think he is alive the way we understand alive. I'm done posting. Please don't try to find me. Her account was deleted within the hour, but one comment that came in right before she vanished still sits with me. This is genuinely the most unsettling thing I've read on this sub. The coat being the same in the 1979 photo is making my skin crawl. And here is where I have to leave you with it. No answer here is comforting. If he's a stalker, he has been watching this family for close to 50 years and he hasn't aged a day. If he's a relative, nobody in the family has ever seen his face. And if the photos are just coincidence, both of them, decades apart, then how did he know the name? How did he know about the grandmother? Sometimes the scariest stories are the ones that just stop. No resolution, no closure. Just a woman who gave a stranger a ride on a dark, rainy highway and found out he'd been standing in the background of her family's life since before she was born. That is the last story for today.